area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
For the finest in vinyl siding, rain gutters, overhangs, storm and replacement windows, even patios and decks, trust in the experts at Ultimate Siding and Gutters. In addition to being licensed and insured, our technicians are also friendly and courteous, performing hassle-free service and installation at affordable rates. Plus, we provide free estimates for commercial and residential structures. Our entire staff will exceed your expectations. For the ultimate in siding, gutters, and much more, call Ultimate Siding and Gutters today.
Welcome back, everybody, to Simtrax Broadcast, and we are here with the Racing Revolution League on this fine Wednesday night, and you've got to admit, this is a fancy-looking track here, seeing how freshly paved it is, and none other than the Atlanta Super Speedway. Joining alongside me tonight will be Stella and Jacob Reeves, as we are taking a look right now at Robert Rader, trying to see if he can narrow down a faster time than what he is now. Right now, getting already almost bumped out of the top 10 here so far. The 53 machine has got to pick up a big time run here if he wants to slide on through. Noticing that qualifying is below that red and white line. Well, we'll see if that's going to be scrutinized here at all. But Stella, we are here for the Slurp Sodas 200 here at Atlanta Super Speedway for round 2 of the Dash for Cash. Talk to me a little bit about the Dash for Cash here.
Oh, absolutely. The Dash for Cash tonight will be, again, sponsored by Coastal Financial, and the top 4 finishers will be eligible not only for the next race at New Hampshire, but the top finisher will win $50 tonight.
All right, well,
And
some insanely fast times out there. Caleb Gilbert right now with a 31:26. Jeffrey Israel with 31:27. Raider with a 31:28. And Kevin Orlando with a 31:30 match with John Fike. Now, really, I'm going to have my eyes really peeled out there for Kevin Orlando. Little throwback here, Jacob, if you weren't here, that Kevin Orlando actually had a little bit of an admin trouble out there, kind of overrode certain things, and he got the win, but not the win to put him into the playoffs. That actually went to Tay McDonald. So Kevin Orlando does have the opportunity and the ability to win this race yet again for the second time this year. The key is if can he stay out front? Can he pit the same way he did last time? Because I think everybody's really going to have a very good idea of what his strategy was and then trying to duplicate it here tonight.
Well, everybody's going to have those strategies like you were talking about right there, Patrick. But, I mean, everybody's got to worry about not getting caught up in the big one. I mean, this is Atlanta Super Speedway, newly repaved. You know, a lot of fans love the old surface that, you know, Atlanta used to have, where you would see drivers having to save tire. It would come into strategy of saving tire and not burning your tires up at start. Now it's just turned into a straight up, I guess you could say, a plate race now. But to be honest with you, this track, with the way that it is, it's actually made the racing more exciting. I've actually been to one of these races, and they are very fun. The key here that you're going to see with some of these drivers, and I've raced a lot of officials last week here at Atlanta Super Speedway in the next-gen cars. What these guys are going to have to worry about is that right front tire. And if they're on the bottom lane, you can make some moves and be able to move up in the order on that bottom lane. But what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up burning your right front up more than you would be running up top. So you're able to open the wheel up just a little bit more on the top than you would on the bottom.
Yep, and as we get, we'll talk a little bit more about that right front tire issue they may encounter here tonight. But I do want to get a shout out from our sponsor here at Slurp Soda. Joining alongside us here is Michael Bennett in the number 14 machine. Michael, talk to me a little bit about kind of Slurp Sodas here, man, and kind of what they're all about.
Yeah, so we're opening up a business down in Phoenix, Arizona. We're still kind of getting up and running. But basically what's going to be, you're just going to walk in, we'll have a selection of name brand sodas, and then we'll basically mix it up however you want with whatever flavorings, and get you some donut balls or something and get you out the door.
Dude, I love it. How'd you come up with the idea?
So I actually got asked to come in. My business partner I'm going with, it's been his plan for the last couple years. He needed somebody to come in and kind of help with the operational side of things. Pitched it to me, showed me everything he kind of, like his vision and what he wants to make it into, and lines right up with how I want to do it. So here we are.
All right, man. Good. Appreciate getting your shout out here tonight, Michael Bennett. Good luck to you, man. The Performance Motorsports team's going to need every driver to get the top 10 finish tonight. Good luck to you, bud.
Thanks, Pat.
All right, and there's Michael Bennett for you guys there, and we are getting locked and loaded. Guys are getting already out onto the track, getting gridded up for this one. I'm excited to see how this is all going to go, especially at this track. This is going to be a wild one, if I do say so myself. Let's take a look at the starting grid for tonight. Caleb Gilbert and Jeffrey Israel starting in row number 1. Here's Robert Rader sitting third next to Kevin Orlando. He won earlier this season. Can he get it again? John Fike will be starting fifth next to Trevor Earhart, who is on the outside of row number 3. Travis Gilbert and Nick Alves will be making up row number 4. Trevor Keith starting 9th, and Michael Bennett there with Slurp Soda Machine starting in 10th. Nick Shell will be 11th next to Daniel Holloway. He may seem pretty familiar. The Candy Man is here, starting on the outside of row number 6. Fantastic start for him tonight, seeing how stacked this field's going to be. Brandon Dunford will be 13th next to Grant Turner. Alex Forget starting 15th next to Devin Hudgens. And I tell you what, Stella, we got a stacked field out here so far. That being with Matthew Robinson in the number 1 machine. He'll be all the way back here in that 17th position. James Loveland will be starting to the outside of him. Then we have Tay McDonald and Tyler Harrison. Now, row number 10 is going to be pretty stacked because I think this is where the guys who really want to fight their way to the front, this is where it starts here. Jacob Sirkovich and the other Slurp Soda machine starting in the 21st position next to Chris Schaefer. Glad to see him back out here. We remember a little bit of Justice Murphy He ended up getting blasted there in the last race, ended up getting kind of undercut and pushed under the racing surface, which is that red and white line. We'll talk a little bit about that a little later on here in the race. And then Grant Thorpe, wow, is he way back here in the back. Interesting to see the fuel calculator start all the way back here. At finishing up the rest of the field here, Wayne Lowe, Blake Cook, and Zach Hanna will be our 25 through 27th drivers. And boy, this is going to be a wild one here. Seeing how this might start out, I would probably say, really in that 20th area, these guys are going to really want to push. Tay McDonald starting super far back. Matthew Robinson, Super Speedway, he's very dominant here. 17th position. I just don't see the qualifying speed matching their race skill here. So I'm waiting to see how they blast through this field. Caleb Gilbert, Jeffrey Israel, front row here. And let's see if we can get any more from the Element X racing team, since Jeremy Burns is actually out here for the night. Green flag is out and away we go. Kevin Orlando following right behind Jeffrey Israel. And if he doesn't get out of the way, he's going to start pushing him here, Stella.
I agree. We also have, let me let you know too, the 4 that are eligible for this race are right up here in the front. We're looking at Rob Rader, Trevor Earhart, Caleb Gilbert, and Jacob Sirkovich. Keep an eye on those guys, because they're going to be battling for that $50.
All right, at least 2 of them here starting in the top 5, really working it on this track. As loose as these guys would think, or as much more banking that they have built into this track, you wouldn't think turn exit would be that much of a factor, but it is. And we remember we talked to Trevor Earhart last time he was here, and he vowed he would find his way back to the front, and he is going to do whatever it takes to get himself a win here, and we're going to hold him to it, because he's got a lot of work to do to fight back to the front. Trevor Earhart right now sitting in that 5th position there with the, looks like the Black Rifle coffee machine back at it again. Good little throwback. Nice to see that back out here, and he's going to see if he can get going here, Jacob. And really, so far so good. We are still double wide, and we're already starting lap 3.
Yeah, we are double wide. I mean, basically what it looks like from the pace laps, to be honest with you. Jeffrey Israel up front with Caleb Gilbert down on the bottom. And this is typical right here that you would see here at Atlanta Super Speedway or Atlanta Motor Speedway. However you want to call it. This is typical 2-wide racing. Don't really see a lot of 3-wide action going on. But to your point, Patrick, what you were talking about, getting squirrely off the corners. And, the time that I've had, these guys that's going to be running up top are going to actually start to slide just a little bit coming right here off of turn number 2. You may see a couple of them kind of get a little bit loose. So you might want to check that out and see when that also happens. And also off of turn 4, it's very crazy. But turn 2 is actually worse, believe it or not, than turn 4 would be. So these guys are going to have their hands full up top. I mean, it's like I said, you're able to get these runs off of the corners up top, but it is a handful up there. And then, I mean, you're loose up top, or you're going to be tight down on the bottom. I mean, you basically only got 2 lanes. Really, nobody can go 3 wide, especially right now.
Yeah, no, they can't. Right now, Jeffrey Israel going ahead and taking over the lead. And I would say, just from experience, seeing what these guys can do, outside line will prevail later on. Once that rubber starts tacking up and building up there on the outside lane will hold. But you do run the risk of what you said, is if they're going to be loose exiting too. So right now, Kevin Orlando trying to use to his advantage this outside lane while he can. A little bit fresher air than some of the other drivers like John Fiker, Nick Alves, who are sitting 6th and 7th back there, just getting that mouthful of dirty air, unable to get any sort of speed behind it. But I would imagine here, Jeffrey Israel doing really a great job being out front. Normally on a super speedway or here at Atlanta, these guys would shuffle around, and we got, somebody lead for half a lap, then they're past the next turn. Israel has been out there and led just about every lap here so far, other than the first one, and he's trying to really squeak away here, and I'm interested to see where some of these guys are going to tumble into this match here. I've got, some people were saying they got money on Nick Allen coming to the front. Kevin Orlando's trying to repeat what he did earlier this season, or are we going to have somebody like an upset here? We're going to have, the newcomer of Daniel Holloway, the Candyman, sitting 10th now. He's at least moved up 2 positions in the 25 Ford, really trying to make a move here. And I think he was deeming that his helmet was going to be the key to his success here tonight, trying to rattle everybody's, kind of rattle everybody's mind here. But Stella, when you're out here driving, and these guys are kind of, it's all eyes out the windshield. It's hard to say, guys are staring out the rearview mirror the whole time.
Yeah, I can't imagine that because, the one checkup, one slip, and we're off to the races. That came out, and afterwards, I really wish it hadn't. But I was going to mention when you were saying about the turn exits being so critical, when they repaved this last 2021,
Yep, I was going to say, we almost took a peek there for 3 wide there. Trevor
Yes.
Earhart kind of taking a peek, and I think it might keep Kevin Orlando thinking. But notice what it's done here, Stella, right as we get the little bit of the stats of the track. I know where you were going with this, is notice how much speed Kevin Orlando lost here. He was tied for the lead. He led a lap there, and Trevor Earhart pulls off to the side to try to see if he can make his own lane, and it's almost like somebody hit the brakes on Kevin Orlando as he has now fallen to 4th, trying to struggle to stay above that position. Use a little bit of that door draft. He isn't afraid at all. But Stella, this is great racing here so far. No trouble as of yet.
Oh yeah, I love this kind of racing. We need to watch that out of bounds marker. But what I was saying regarding it being paved, when they increased the banking from 28, from 24 to 28, they also shrunk the corners from 55 feet to 40 feet. So your line really is kind of important there. Nice move, Orlando, getting in that bottom line.
Yeah. Well, definitely with the banking and shortening up the turns, it does give it more of a bowl shape. Not as much maneuverability as you used to have on Atlanta. Honestly, I preferred the old pavement. I got a lot of speed from there. I had plenty of room to turn entrance and exit, and just what you see here is a lot more packed driving. Now, I think that's some of what the fans almost crave out here, is that side-by-side racing where guys are, just so close, spreading a little, trading a little bit of paint, smoking a couple tires off the fenders, and then right back at it again. And Jacob, so far so good. We are about single file here for the first 3 drivers, and then we're double stacking all the way back to beyond 10th place.
Yeah, Travis Gilbert trying to get this outside lane working. What they need to do, honestly, if they want to get any type of movement, is that second car needs to be right up Travis Gilbert's back bumper, and the 3rd car in line needs to be right behind John Fike, pushing him, because we talked about we have talked about the 2-car tandem that played a factor at Talladega. Way back, in the late 2000s and the early 2011, 2012 or whatever, but, you can't really get a 2-car tandem as you see it now. Now Fike's able to get up behind Travis Gilbert. He's got that other guy that's back there pushing him. That's Nick Alves right behind him. And there you see it right there. The outside lane prevails because that 3rd car was able to get up there and push that 2nd car. I mean, they need the help and the momentum. 2 cars can't do it. 3 cars can make that bottom line really worried. As you see it right there, outside lane, making that advance. Michael Bennett right up behind Nick Alves. They shove John Fike straight to the lead. That's what that outside lane needs to be doing, as it looks like they have a lot of help up top, but Fike drops down to the bottom. If I was them, I'd stay up top and try to drag one line all the way around the top. That's what I'd do.
Away he goes. Now you're going to see Performance Motorsports sitting 1 and 2, wondering where in the world Alice Forget is. He's back there in 8th. And then we also have, looking for Matthew Robinson, sitting back here in 6th. So notice that outside lane. Almost 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the outside lane. Oh, Fike. Oh, John Fike. Hold on to it. Fike is way off the track. He is allowed to go below the line as long as he is not advancing. And right now he is trying to re-enter the track without causing the problems. And if you remember, I believe it was Wayne Lowe and Justice Murphy in that exact same spot. It was a re-entrance back on the track after some people got bumped, and it took out about 12 to 13 drivers on that one. So it was the big one, able to be avoided here. Great job by John Fike ducking on out of there, dropping down to 9th. The exact number his car is here of the 09. But that definitely allows a huge gap here between all these drivers. Seeing we have almost a second gap between the back of James Loveland's bumper, and then we reach back to John Fike. And that is pretty kind of a huge gap. Can these guys clump back together and push back forward? It's hard to say, but I love seeing right now Nick Alves out here sitting number 1. Michael Bennett is sitting second. Grant Turner in the 06. Kind of new to this league, but he is doing just fine here. No problem out of him. Sitting third. Matthew Robinson fourth, and rounding out our top 5 will be Alex Bourget.
Well, I mean, Patrick, you talked about it with the second group. Are they going to be able to catch that front group? You see this front group right here, Alex Forget, Michael Bennett, Nick Alves, all these guys in this first group. It's single file. I mean, they got one guy hanging up top, and then everybody else is straight slap dab on the bottom. What this second group back here needs to do is they need to get organized and not be too wide, because what that outside lane is doing is it's pulling back that inside line and it's slowing them down. Which is the side draft that we talk about all the time with the super speedways. That's exactly what that outside lane is doing. It's pulling that inside lane back. But the problem is everybody wants to try to get to the front. I mean, Gilbert was right behind Fike right then, and then Gilbert just said he had enough of it and just went straight back to the top. So what they need to do is get organized, and if they can get in one straight line, they got more help than that front group has. They'll catch them in a heartbeat. But right now, everything's staying as steady as it is because they're just back there racing one another when they need to try to be helping one another.
Yeah, you can be right about that. Right now, we're seeing Michael Bennett trying to take a couple peeks there around Nick Alves. I think he might duck on in, but I would probably say here, stage break is at lap 30 as these guys are kind of wrapping around here. We'll take a quick little peek at our race info of what we've got stacked up here so far. 130 laps, stage will be at 35 sets of tires down the pit, and Super Speedway gets one faster pair. So that is looking pretty hot here so far. And speaking of hot, track temperature at 108. So that is great racing surface for these guys out here. And now it's Forget sitting in that 5th spot. So far, we've seen a huge shuffle. Nick Alves has picked up 7, Bennett up 8, Grant Turner up 11 positions, Matthew Robinson up 13, and Alex Forget is up 10. But let's not count out Chris Schaefer back there sitting in the 6th position. He's gained 16, and James Loveland's gained 11. So really, this front clump has figured out what to do, have picked up at least 7 positions, and are now pulling away when your previous leader of Jeffrey Israel back here down 10 spots, sitting 12th. It just kind of shows you this entire track. There is there's extra places for these guys to be. There's extra time, there's extra movement, and really some pit strategy is going to come into play. But I would probably say, looks like a little shot there from Wayne Lowe.
Yes.
Yeah, not sure who he made contact with there. It looks like it may have been the 26 machine. Or is that the 56? Nope.
30. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that is Tay McDonald in the wrong paint.
Oh.
Boy,
Wow.
Look at Rob.
Yeah, Rob got a scare, and now he's trading paints with the wall.
Yeah, right now. You know what? Let's see if we can get a mad face out of him here.
But Patrick, I'll be honest with you, that bottom lane actually, or that second group, they did get lined up, even though Raider tried to jump out and tried to, I guess you could say, make some headway up there on that top lane. They was all actually racing for the 9th and 10th spot, which would have received stage points at the end of this stage here in the next 5 to 6 laps. But the bottom lane was able to get enough organization. They was able to catch the draft off of that first group. Now it's right back to what it was basically when they dropped the green flag side by side all the way back.
Yeah, taking a look here at Kevin Orlando when they did catch this pile there, charging back forward. Only a few laps left, and we're going to see if they can hold it here. Kevin Orlando is trying to push it along here, but man, is he fighting that wheel. That car, he's going to keep that up for a few more laps here. That's going to hurt him later on in the run here. Let's kind of take a look at right now. Matthew Robinson throwing his hat into the ring here, seeing if he can get out front and really play this to his advantage. Seeing the 22 machine of Travis Gilbert returning back to the fight with Matthew Robinson here. Are we getting ready for a 3 wide? Maybe. Because Travis Gilbert's thinking about sliding in between. He thinks better of it and sticks behind Matthew Robinson. We've got about 3 laps to go here before stage breaks. No, this is looking pretty dicey.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I don't know if I would be pushing the envelope so hard unless I need those stage points in a bad way.
Oh, yeah. Well, right now we're taking a look at the back of some signs here, but we got them shooting down the back. Wayne Lowe off track now. Something may happen way loose.
Oh,
drivers might be working their way down pit road here. They should be entering here in the back, actually ducking off the track and then down into pit road. Some of them actually filing back. Alice Forget, he falls back. I wonder if there was a red and white line penalty here, and he's having to fall to the back, which is quite unfortunate. Matthew Robinson in that fancy looking machine out there. I like the way that thing looks.
Well, I think honestly the reason why they were dropping to the back is because the racing was getting so crazy right here for this stage to end. They know that all the crazy things can happen. Somebody can get side drafted, maybe cause a big wreck. They didn't want to have to burn that fast repair so early.
Might be, as we're taking a look here. Lap 30 is underway. They got to finish lap 30 and get the top 10 through. So right now, Travis Gilbert and John Fike going to duke it out here. And I got to admit, John Fike returning back to the fight here. So he's trying to take flight here. But wait for the 21 Chevrolet. He's going to drop to the bottom, and this is going to be exactly what he needs. It's going to put the brakes on Travis Gilbert. Earhart onto the bottom. Where is Jeffrey Israel? There he is, trying to see if he can put his hat into the ring here. Little shove to Trevor Earhart. He's going to take the stage win here. Wow, what a great run. Trevor Earhart, fantastic job really timing that one, slinging his way to the front.
I mean, you talked about it, Patrick, with, Trevor Earhart, having basically a chip on his shoulder. And, Trevor Earhart knows how to get around these super speedways. Not real surprising to see him get this stage win. So, that's, big for him. That's obviously playoff points. That's obviously a bunch of stage points, that they're going to accumulate through the rest of the year. But, what a move right there on the end. And Jeffrey Israel just had absolutely nowhere to go but just to push him. That was all he had. Gilbert straight down on his door was trying to side draft him so hard he literally got into him right there off of turn number 4, and they was able to save it. So, honestly, Patrick, I hope that the finish of this race is just like it finished right there with stage break.
Oh, yeah. Well, nice and clean. We saw a couple of guys get loose. A couple of guys get bumped off the track. Definitely some trouble out there, and I love seeing that kind of work. Those guys really trying to figure each other out, get a good angle, try to push their way to the front, and just figure out what somebody else is doing that I can do, or figure out what I can do to get out of that situation, and a lot of guys, I am still concerned a little bit seeing those guys dropping off the track and falling way back. I understand it's getting crazy out there, Jacob, but man, I would not want to start in the back of the field for the beginning of this race, because if trouble does happen, let's say in the front third of this race, that could be it. That could be the end of your race, and you've got nowhere to go. You've got no escape.
Well, not entirely. If they wreck in front of you, Stella talked about the red line rule, which is the yellow line at Daytona and Talladega, but here it is the red line. If they wreck in front of them, it doesn't matter what they do. They can go wherever they got to go to be able to miss the accident. They're not doing it to advance their position. If they wreck, they can go down below that yellow line to try to miss the wreck, even if it is on the track. I've done that plenty of times, even in league races, especially here, where, if they wreck in front of you, especially on the backstretch, if they wreck, you got that wide open area all the way down there at the bottom of the track. Why not use it? You got it available to your advantage, especially if all of them's wrecking right up against the wall. You got like 10 of them piled up. You got to use whatever pavement that you can to try to get around them. So some of them guys back there in the back, Wayne Lowe, Alex Forget that came back there, I think that was a smart move on their part, just trying to be very cautious and hopefully, or just trying to save themselves.
Oh, yeah. We're going to see if we can tune in here to the number 9, I think, of Jeremy Burns. Trying to see if we can get him up on the camera, fighting that a little bit. But Jeremy Burns, talk to me here, man. This race is kind of really stacking up to be a good one here so far. Definitely some close quarter running here. Talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing.
Yeah, no, from the team aspect, Element X looked really strong there in the early beginnings. And, our plan going into today was trying to get Jeff Israel that win that he so desperately needs. But it looked really good. Jeff actually seemed very aggressive, so that was really good. And the racing overall, I mean, it's just so competitive. And that was just the first 30 laps. So it'll be great to see what we can do now for 130 straight laps.
Yeah, Jeffrey Israel will be restarting in that 5th position. And I believe from Element X, he is the only guy you're waiting to get into the playoffs, is he not?
Yeah,
Yes.
and now when we go to these super speedways, we can focus on trying to get him that win because it's focused on so much team.
All right, man. Well, I hope to see Jeffrey Israel possibly get it here. He's got a tall order in front of him here. Jeremy, appreciate you joining us, man. We might try to grab you here later in the race, but we're heading back under green.
Alrighty, guys, have a good race. And if I see you, I see you. If I don't, well, I'll be on vacation, so hopefully you get a good finish here.
All right, Jeremy, appreciate it, bud. All right, let's get back to it here. Trevor Earhart getting the breakaway here already, fast on the gas. But really, I got to admit, that is not what you want to do. Travis Gilbert and Tay McDonald, they're going to pounce on him here in just a moment, as he is not going to have any draft help. I would be very surprised to see if anybody decides to push him here. No. They're going to stick right on behind him, but that's going to allow Tay McDonald, with the help of John Fike, sling on around. So Tay McDonald in the 73 Ford, actually rocking out there in the 26 here tonight, is going to be leading his first lap here of the night. But I've got to admit, taking a look at the back of his machine here, that is looking pretty dang awesome. I like what I see here. Take a look at that. God dang, look at that. Man, we got awesome stuff out here on the track, and I love to see what is getting on these cars out here. A little bit of extra Simtrax pieces out there. Got to get Trevor Earhart out there with the Earhart group on the side of his car. A little bigger, man. Get that thing up. But he wants that Black Rifle coffee. But right now, 1, 2, and 3. Fike, McDonald, Matthew Robinson from looks like Motorsports there, sitting, tumbling around 3rd, 4th right now as he's battling alongside Trevor Earhart and Travis Gilbert rounding out of the top 5. Stella, we are still double stacked here all the way back, and I'm waiting to see if kind of that Lone Ranger out there, the judge, working for that 9th position, might be able to get a little something going on here.
Yeah, it's a lot better than where I was watching him back in 18th before the stage. Oh, we got trouble.
Oh boy. Yeah, Trevor Earhart off the rails here. Trying to see if we can keep up with him right now. I guarantee you, everybody just puckered. That is not what they wanted to see. Holy cow. Trevor Earhart goes from battling that 3rd, 4th position, 21st. Whew. Man, but
Yeah.
it's really, Jacob, looking at what we got here, he's going to be able to file back, but we got somebody sliding through. I think the Candyman might have been in some trouble here. The
Something just
23 of
happened
Chris
'cause
Schaefer.
Alves moved up about 5 spaces in a second.
Yeah, Christopher Schaefer is into the wall.
Oh.
It looks like something happened. He may have gotten hooked into that wall. We'll see if we can get a quick replay here and see if I can find what happened to Chris Schaefer here. And see if we can kind of redo this race. And it doesn't look from my angle here real quick that anything was his fault. Let's take a look. A little bit of blinking here. Whoa, man.
Oh, it started up much further.
Yeah, I think that might be Travis Gilbert. Holloway got turned. Wow. All right. Well, already getting a little bit of trouble out here onto the track. Finally getting getting a little bit of action out here. You were talking about Nick Alves. He now moves up to that 10th position. But man, has he got a lot of work to do. He's way out here. At least he has a teammate with him, Alice Forget. Glad to see him back out there, able to kind of save his buddy here. But when you're sitting here in the car and you got so far to go, how do we get to the front? It's only 1-2. How do we push? I mean, talk to me, Jacob. I mean, is this hold it to the floor and pray for the best, or is there still a chance here?
Well, I mean, what Nick needs to do, honestly, right there, is he needs to kind of drag the brake just a little bit and try to get Forget to be able to give him the push. That's about the only way that you can get 2 cars to be able to try to lock up and be able to push. And that's at any super speedway. That's anywhere, really. But Alves able to get a little bit of draft off Jeffrey Israel. He's going to be able to catch right back up. So he actually got a little bit of a saving grace right there with Forget sticking with him the best that he could. So that's going to help him out big time, being able to catch back up with this air, because I've been on the receiving end of just getting absolute left. You got to have trust in the guy behind you to know that, it's just both of y'all. Y'all have got to get up there and get going. And he had enough of trust in Alex Forget. And Forget, had enough of trust, to be able to try to push him as best that he could. Obviously, he couldn't lock on bumpers, but, in that sense, like I said, Alves tried to drag the brake a little bit, but they got lucky right there. I mean, if they would have lost that draft right there, they would have been hung out to dry, and then who knows, probably about the next 20 laps, they've been lapped.
I think a gutsy move would have been him to drop down to the inside line. Right now we're being led by James Loveland in the 02 Chevrolet out in front, and a couple of drivers ended up a couple laps down here. Chris Schaefer down 2, and Trevor Keith is down a lap here. I don't know if he ended up in a little bit of trouble. That might be our driver who got tangled up in that last spin. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I think the 15 may have gotten tangled up there. Kevin Orlando all the way back here in the backpack, and around the likeliness there of Jacob Sirkovich and Nick Schell, so at least he's around some decent guys there in the back. Grant Thorpe, he is second in line right behind a new driver I haven't seen, Tyler Harrison. Brand new driver there in the 45 Toyota. Looks like he's going to try to rock it out here in the really in this backpack, at least in the 12th position. Let's get back up front to the front pack here, where Justice Murphy's trying to see if he can break here into the top 5. Trevor Keith dropping off the table here to go ahead and let the drivers go on by, which unfortunately drops him another lap down. Man, I'm sure he would like to be able to suck up to the back of that pack and not get left here in case, in case he's able to maintain, for the lucky dog position if a caution were to come out. But I'm pretty impressed, Stella, to see that there was a spin, there was some trouble on the track, no caution.
Yes, I was actually going to ask you about that, but there's a question coming from the chat on YouTube that's saying, what is a plate race? That's from our dirt driver out there.
Well, I mean, basically what they used to have, they don't have them anymore. What they used to have on these cars back in the earlier 2000s, basically what it is that it's a plate that they put on the car to restrict the engine power, to be able to slow the car down from what the car is capable of running. I would say back in the early 1980s, they didn't have restrictor plates on the cars. That was back in the old Winston Cup days with Bobby Allison, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott. You would see those cars being able to push upwards of 212 miles an hour by themselves at Talladega. So when Bobby Allison flipped up and hit the catch fence, that's when they mandated NASCAR to have restrictor plates on the cars. That way that it could slow the cars down, and they've tried numerous things to be able to try to slow these cars down at a reasonable speed and a safe speed. That way they don't just go out there and flip like airplanes. They've got roof flaps on the cars, try to keep the cars on the ground. They've tried things with the spoilers, but since this next gen car has come out, it's not necessarily a plate race anymore. Now it's a taper spacer that's on the car, and that's what keeps the horsepower from getting outrageous. They're running around over 600 horsepower. Well, back in the day, they was running well over 800 horsepower. So that's why they threw that restrictor plate on her. That's why we always say plate racing when it comes to these super speedways, about the plate racing, but they're not plates on them anymore. But that's my take on it. But a lot of them say, it's Bobby Allison flipping up in the fence. I think it was because Bill Elliott made up 2 laps at Talladega and was able to get the win under green. But, that's just my take on it.
Oh, yeah. Well, taking a look out there in the chat, Terry Earhart, yep, you were correct. It was a plate that went between the carburetor and the intake manifold. It was actually kind of instead of being an open bore, they ended up taking the 4-barrel and actually lessening the holes, making the holes smaller. So the restrictor plate is restricting the air into the engine. Of course, these guys say, okay, well, if I have that, I've got to overcome that power. So let's figure out how to make the car more efficient, more fuel efficient, and I've got to figure out how to get more power with what I have. And so far they can do. Now, of course, league rules change, throughout the years and things like that, and they move around. But all cars, I believe, have moved to fuel injection now, so They just have one single limiter. I don't know how traction control doesn't come into play when we start messing around with computers, because you can't do that either. But we are getting ready to start lap number 52 here at the Slurp Sodas 200. And we're still being led here by James Loveland. Michael Bennett sitting second. Devin Hudgens up 13 positions in that 84 Chevrolet, working his way up to third. Matthew Robinson is fourth. And Justice Murphy finally getting that fifth position away from Robert Rader, who drops down into sixth. So a lot of drivers still making these moves around here. I do want to question there a little bit. Nick Alves, he fell off the table there, and I'm not quite 100% sure what's going on. I would love to see if we could find possibly RC out there and see if somebody can tell me what in the world is going on, why he may have fallen off the track. I can only assume when we start seeing this here, Stella, is maybe these guys are getting that like a red line foul, and somebody's calling it here, and they're having to shuffle to the back, because I can't see why he would slice through the entire infield. You see him one and two, and then he's almost spinning coming out of two, still on the apron. So I'm not 100% sure what Nick Alves is doing here. I mean, he had a solid, he was the top 10. I mean, why would you drop down to 23rd? That might be something that's kind of baffling me here. Is kind of the strategy here as to why you would sit back this far and kind of collect up Trevor Keith here and try to put, I guess, fight back to the front.
Well, Patrick, I'm actually seeing it right now. Actually, it was lap 47 of what it was. He was right there in front of Alex Forget, running right there with the pack. And all of a sudden, they got in the trial coming to lap 48, and Nick Alves was blinking. That's exactly what it was. He actually blinked out for a second right in front of Forget. So what he did was he pulled completely down to the bottom of the racetrack and to keep himself out of harm's way. And, not try to cause anybody else into that. And then he just wasn't able to catch back up.
Holy cow. Yeah, all right. Well, and then that's the case. If somebody calls out too much blinking out there, they get sent to the back. So that is unfortunate. But somebody who's not trying not to go to the back is Alex Forget. Right now, he's playing pinball out there as we took a look. He took a shot there with Fike, and it looked like to the back, I believe, of Raiders bumper or Justice Murphy there. But he was getting knocked around something fierce. Alex Forget kind of, boy, man, it was great driving there. I think he didn't see the accordion happen in front of him there. He gave a little bump, let off the brake. He gets rear-ended, but he drops down to the bottom to stop the flow, to stop it from happening and stop, make it less damage here. They've got to stop beating and banging each other all together and try to get that one back. But excellent job by Alex Forget. Stopping the accordion effect there and allowing it to go. So taking a look here at our second pile, Jeffrey Israel is a 10th right there in the final back, and then reaching back here, Kevin Orlando has the fuel calculator of Grant Thorpe behind him, and Trevor Earhart, who's sitting 13th. Single file these cars go, but can they make up some time? Right now, Kevin Orlando's got to make up about a second and a quarter to catch up to the back end here, where Robert Rader now drops down to 10th and is laying off Jeffrey Israel a little bit here. So it's interesting to see whether if he's trying to find a couple of his other teammates to pull back to the front, like Caleb Gilbert, who's sitting back there in that 24th position, or is he trying to see if he can find Jeffrey Israel and see if he can get these two working together and get that number 6 back to the front?
Yeah, I'd like to see them get Israel. That would be, like you say, the fourth person out of Element X to get a win. And right now, he is sitting in 18th, about 18 points off of making the playoffs just in points alone without a win. So he's a contender.
Contender. Speaking of which, a new contender for the playoffs will be Tay McDonald. Man here in the number 73. Glad to see him being able to get out there. He was gifted the race win here earlier in the season, so he's the man who's going to move on to the playoff round, so he's got to be pretty excited about that. His consistency has been, bar none, one of the best out there, and I've got to say probably one of the biggest improvements over between season to season. So Tay McDonald in that 73 Ford really rocking it here. But remember, we talked about Raiders dropping back, and right now catching up there with Israel, forming their own line, outside line. Tay McDonald sees it. He's going to try to check up a little bit. Alice Forget doesn't want him to, gives him a little nudge there. And right now they're working on passing the judge here of Justice Murphy.
And they're going to try to use that outside lane, and we talked about it a while ago. With all of these guys running the bottom lane, they're going to start to get tight. They're going to start using that right front. They're going to start pushing up. These guys, Robbie Rader and Jeffrey Israel, running up top, trying to run and trying to keep it going. They're going to see if they can pull some other guys up there and be able to try to push themselves to the front. Like I said, everybody that's down here running on the bottom, they're just burning that right front up more. And it's not the fact, I mean, it's got a little bit to do with his car, but it's got to do with so much dirty air that you was talking about earlier, Patrick, with them just trying to be able to keep it on the bottom, the speed, the aerodynamics, all of that plays into a factor. Whereas, like I said up top, you're just able to open up the wheel just a little bit more, and you're not having to crank the wheel as hard. You're not having to burn that right front up. So Israel and Raider looks like they got that outside lane working a little bit. Believe it or not, just both of them are being able to hang with these guys, even though that bottom lane's got more help.
Oh, yeah. 2 Chapman Environmental Services car. Look like they're trying to pass the Simtrax #1 Chevrolet there on the inside. Right now, a little shout out there from Terry Hudgens saying to my boy in the 84, from last to third. Yes, Devin Hudgens has moved up 13 positions out there. But Stella, I've got 2 Terrys out there. I got Terry Earhart and Terry Hudgens. I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do. Timmy's trying to give them a run for their money. I love the amount you guys are commenting out there. We are keeping an eye on that. But pit stops are happening, and this is what we talked about before, is kind of how the guys are going to enter pit. They've got to enter between 3 and 4. They drop off the table here a little bit, and they'll be working their way down, and it goes as follows. James Loveland, Michael Bennett, Matthew Robinson, John Fikehouse, Forget, Kevin Orlando, Trevor Earhart, and Grant Turner. Right now, those are all our drivers working their way down pit. Tyler Harrison already came down pit, and he's working his way out. He stopped back on 63, and he's going to try to fly his way back out there, which means Jeffrey Israel is into the lead, but it looks like Devin Hudgens not happy about that entrance there. That is going to allow Travis Gilbert to go around. And I've got to say, you know, when you start seeing the fuel calculator on his way in, this may or may not be a good thing.
Well, I mean, they're actually in their pit window, honestly, Patrick. I mean, you can go upwards of 65 to 70 laps if you play your cards right and are able to save in the draft. So right here, I mean, we're right here at that point to where they can make it if they save their stuff and they don't go out there and burn it up, and they don't run it. I mean, they just don't run it full throttle all the way around. They can make it right here. That's why you see Jeffrey Israel and a bunch of these guys coming in, getting those 4 fresh tires like we talked about, burning those tires up. I mean, granted, it's super speedway. Granted, it is repaved, but it's not like Talladega. It's not like Daytona where you can just keep it wide open all the way around the track and not have to worry about burning your tires up. This place does come into handling. It does come in to some tire wear. So, yeah, I mean, these guys right here, they're definitely in their pit window. They should be able to make it all the way to the end.
Well, if they came in at 30 on the stage break, and here they are at 67, it's not a 65, a 65, 66 window. It's more of a 30 to 35 window, correct?
Well, I mean, they can do that too if they want to do that, but believe it or not, like I said, I'm telling you right now, they can make it on 65 to 70 laps of fuel. They can make it.
So we can go from here to the end, you're saying, with no more pits? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, we can make it all the way to the end. That's why you see a lot of them pitting right there at that time. That's exactly why they're going in. You can make it on 65 laps of fuel. Trust me, I did it.
All right. Alice Forget now has the lead out front by just barely. I was going to say about 1.3 seconds, but I would not hold that very long, as Kevin Orlando, with the help of James Loveland, Matthew Robinson, Michael Bennett behind him, are reeling him in extremely fast. I would probably see here in probably the next half a lap we're going to have him. Kevin Orlando getting the draft. Here he comes. Bye-bye. Right now, Alice Forget's got to find out how to file back in here, as right now he is marching on back, 5th place already, and Kevin Orlando back into the lead like we saw at Atlanta earlier this season. I know I keep throwing it back to earlier this season, but right now Kevin Orlando needs this win to get locked into the playoffs. got to get out there. He's had a lot of hard luck these past couple of seasons, and he's had a lot of hard racing and just some bad luck the past couple of races. So right now we are at his strong, playing to his strong suit, and he is at the track he feels the most comfortable at. And really, if he's unable to pull away a win here, the wind will be taken out of his sails, and he's going to have to fight into the playoffs the hard way. And Stella, we saw it last season. I believe you were even out there in the chat that the guys out there racing on points make it by the skin of your teeth every single week. It's much easier when you've got playoff points. It's much easier when you've got a win and you're able to push your way out to the front, and you're able to get that sigh of relief. I'm locked in the playoffs. Now let's just concentrate on stage points and where I finish here. And that's really what Robert Rader started doing, and I think that was the key to some of his success later on here in the season.
Well, it's kind of like, the pressure is off. How many people have you seen adopt a child and then all of a sudden they get pregnant and have one of their own? There's something about, having that win to be in, and then you just start raking in the points, being consistent.
Yep. Kevin Orlando still leading this race here so far, and we'll go through a couple of other drivers here in just a moment, but I do like giving that starry show. 27 Ford. A little bit of time here in the light. Right now he doesn't get a whole lot. He does tumble around there in the 15th spot occasionally, but he gets hammered around a lot. And speaking of somebody who got hammered around here earlier in the race, Trevor Earhart, quick check-in on him back here in 12th with the fuel calculator. Grant Thorpe. Grant Thorpe in the 77 Chevrolet sitting right behind him now. Now, Grant, I'm interested to see if Grant plans on turning it up here. He's gained 11 points here, or 11 positions. Where does he fall into this one? Can he get TriStar Motorsports up to the front and keep pushing on? Because right now, kind of tumbling around here in the back, not looking so good. I think he's still got a chance for a top 10 finish here. But man, he has got a lot of work to do. And with this thing already getting past that halfway point, Jacob, man, he's really got to pick and choose here when he's going to pit, and he's got to make some moves here pretty soon.
Well, I mean, that second group's actually catching them about a tenth a lap. But what's comfortable for him is that he's in the draft and he's able to save him some gas. What y'all were talking about with Kevin Orlando, granted he is up leading this race, but what Kevin Orlando is doing right now, he is full throttle. He's not lifting. He's not saving any gas. He's not able to use any draft. So that is actually working against Kevin Orlando at this particular time because he's not able to save anything. With James Loveland right behind Kevin Orlando, he's able to lift off of the gas. He's able to use the draft to be able to pull him around the track. Forget all the way back there in the back, he can use that draft. All these guys right here in these in this 7-car breakaway, they can do that. But the one guy that can't is the guy that's leading, because he's got to lead them all the way around. He can't save anything. He's full throttle all the way around. So that's going to really affect him later on in this race. I mentioned that they can make it on 65 laps. Well, that's when you're saving. That's when you're lifting a little bit going into the corners. You lift that little bit, you're not burning as much fuel. It's like I said, he's up front. He's got it on the floor. But Grant Thorpe, you talked about him, the fuel calculator. He's back there. He's in the draft. And that second group right there, led by Jeffrey Israel, they're catching them. They are catching them right now. I mean, they literally got it down to almost 2 seconds. A while ago it was 2.8. Now it's down to 2.2.
All right, Kristen out there is rooting on Jeffrey Israel out there, but I would kind of wonder if she's scratching her head a little bit here, looking at how both Jeffrey Israel and Robert Rader came down at the exact same time. Both of their pit boxes were one in front of the other, yet Rader's in 5th and Jeffrey Israel is in 8th. Now here's the key, is right now that pit lane time for Jeffrey Israel was 2 seconds longer. The pit box time for Robert Rader was 14.5, and Jeffrey Israel was in there for 15.3. So right now a second slower in and out of the box. It's just terrible right now for Jeffrey Israel. Apparently, he's going to have to go out there and change the tires himself if he's going to want to pick up the pace, because that number 6 Ford has got a lot of work to do to fight back to the front. They've got to reach up, start with Alex Forget, and start reeling them in. Now, yes, they are starting to get it going here. About 2.1 seconds behind. Alex Forget is falling off a little bit, off pace here. About 50 thousandths of a second per lap. So right now the gap is closing between Alex Forget and Jeffrey Israel. As soon as that contact is made, we should have almost, if I'm not mistaken, 13 drivers stacked all together here in that front pack. Now, outside the top 13 drivers, Justice Murphy is actually leading the second clutch or third clutch of guys back here with Tyler Harrison, Blake Cooks, Zach Hanna, and I believe Jacob Sirkovich. Yeah, there he is, Jacob Sirkovich in the 18 machine. So that is, it's interesting to see how many guys are actually kind of getting pulled apart here. And when you are falling back, I don't want to point fingers at a couple of drivers, but Nick Alves, we saw how he was blinking, falling off here. Daniel Holloway ended a little bit of trouble there when he spun with a little contact there, I think, with Trevor Keith. You know, how do we bounce back? Do we take 2 tires? I mean, Atlanta with this new pavement is so aggressive on those tires. So can these guys throw on a right side set of tires and still be competitive later on here in the race? We'll have to find out, because I think I would probably presume, due to tire wear, even if they can make it on fuel mileage, tire wear is going to be key. And I think a lot of these guys might come down and just pit just for the safety of being able to make it around the track safely and not having to spin from the exit of turn 2.
Well, and I just now actually looked, because what I was basing my fuel mileage on was a full tank. I just now looked, and I am sorry, I completely missed it. Now, yeah, go ahead, Stella. I got you. These guys are actually running half of what a full load is. I didn't know that until just now. So, with that being said, yes, they can make it in one more stop. They will be able to make it with one more stop. But Patrick, going back to what you were talking about, I like the 2-tire call in that instance. I mean, obviously, right there, that very first pit stop that they did, no, don't take 2, take 4. Right here, when they come this time coming into the pits, yes, I 100% am all for that 2-tire pit stop, because you'll be able to get more. You'll be able to jump out and be able to leapfrog some of these guys. But with Atlanta, we talked about it, with that tire wear, 4 tires, it is a possibility. It still will prevail, because you want as much grip as you can. But I do like the 2-tire call. Some of these guys will be able to make that work. So, I mean, I like the call. Basically, you flip a coin at it. It's either way.
All right, taking a look off the back end of Trevor Keith here in the 15 Ford. That is the leader here of Kevin Orlando, reeling them on in. That is looking pretty rough here. Michael Bennett dropping to the back the same way we saw Nick Alves. Bennett doing some blinking as well. So they must be sharing some Wi-Fi there, and I'm sure they're going to be having their provider all over them, seeing how well they've been doing here tonight, and a little internet connection has caused a bit of trouble. Now, Kevin Orlando still seeming to work around no problem. Outside line held pretty steady here, and right now he is trying to put a couple more drivers behind him here. I believe Grant Turner will be next in line, and Chris Schaefer in the 23. Right now, these 2 Chevrolets are the only thing stopping Kevin Orlando from getting that fresh air yet again and continuing to lead this race really with no opposition out there on the track. So it's good communication between the drivers out there on the track. Tell them to stay low. Don't worry about it. We'll floss our way around. But it's interesting to see Loveland not taking advantage of the lapped cars and trying to, jam Kevin Orlando into the wall or run him aground and try to slice around him here and get Kevin Orlando thinking, you can't lead this whole race. I can pass you at any point in time.
Well, I mean, we got plenty of time. I mean, that's honestly, I think that's exactly why James Loveland's not trying to push the issue right now. These guys are just wanting to just go ahead and log some laps, go ahead, just keep going. They know they got to make a pit stop. Well, now we know that they got to make another pit stop, but I mean, I think that's exactly what it is. They don't want to make any kind of crazy moves. They're just following the guy right in front of them, because like I said, that pit stop's going to come into play, and we've seen crazy things happen going in the pits. I don't want to jinx anybody like I have before, but like I said, anything is possible. They can speed on pit road. Any of these guys could, because this is not one of those normal places like Talladega where they've got a wide open area to be able to go. They've got to literally be able to keep it down all the way down on the bottom. They can't jump back up across the red line and jump back up on the racing surface. They got to keep it all the way down, and then you got to slow it down to 45 miles per hour. These guys out here doing upwards of 190. So 190 all the way down to 45 miles an hour. That's a big gap.
And Alice Forget, he's getting not getting down enough. He was a little higher. He drops down to 6th position. Michael Bennett, we saw how he had to dial out there a little bit. Jeffrey Israel is now caught up to him, and they are now pushing. So the top 6 drivers we're seeing here, I believe that is Trevor Keith tangling up with these guys along with Chris Schaefer. Hey, we could use a couple of decent guys, following along. But I've got to admit, not seeing how Matthew Robinson isn't taking advantage. I would just love to see how these guys, I've seen Matthew Robinson race in a few other leagues, and he is not one to wait. And it's interesting to see that somebody else who doesn't like waiting is in that 53 Ford sitting behind him. So it's interesting to see that these two guys aren't, hey, buddy, inside line ready now, and they both shift, and then we've got a 2x2 racing into turn 1 and 2 with some slightly worn tires, and we got a battle for the lead. But Kevin Orlando logging some laps here, like you're saying, and it's interesting to see the discipline of guys holding back and not pushing and creating a situation. So many guys are just on top of the ball. You see them driving over top of the steering wheel because they're trying to get to that next level. But kind of sitting back and letting this race come to them. I am impressed at the discipline that they can just hang back and just take one after the other. But it looks like we might be under caution back here. And I think Tyler Harrison is around. Pit stops. Here we come.
Yeehaw.
All right, pit road is closed. Drivers will be heading down pit road here in just a moment. Check out there back in the chat. The Mountain Man is checking in, and he's showing that Israel is showing that he's a good leader for a line, and this can come in handy in the late race situations. Right now, this will be a great break here for Jeffrey Israel. Still looking to get a win here on the year, seeing that we're going to clump everybody back together, and he's not going to have to make up 2 seconds. I would probably say here, Stella, this is going to level the playing field, allowing these guys to come back out. Probably, I would assume, 4 fresh tires. We were talking about 2, but now this is everybody's pitting.
Yes.
Everybody on 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel, and they're going to try to run it out possibly here to the end.
Yeah, I'd like to taking a look at some of these guys in the back that like you say, were up there. Murphy and Alves and all those that ended up moving back. This will, I like your leveling the playing field. It'll bring everybody up to snuff again. Whee! I'm sorry. I'm just watching these guys trying to come out of pits and smoking and everything.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think Trevor Keith may get one of his laps back here as the lucky dog. As he stays out onto the track, he should get at least one of these back and then come back down pit road. He would need another caution to get back on the lead lap and try to churn through this one. But ladies and gentlemen, we are under caution. We're going to cut to commercial real quick, and we'll be right back.
For the finest and vinyl siding, rain gutters, overhangs, storm and replacement windows, even patios and decks, trust in the experts at Ultimate Siding and Gutters. In addition to being licensed and insured, our technicians are also friendly and courteous, performing hassle-free service and installation at affordable rates. Plus, we provide free estimates for commercial and residential structures. Our entire staff will exceed your expectations. For the ultimate in siding, gutters, and much more, call Ultimate Siding and Gutters today.
It's no secret the real estate market can be a little tricky to figure out. In the Oklahoma City area, you need the experts at the Earhart Group to guide you. We're one of the top-rated real estate teams in all of Oklahoma. We can help you buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And we've got a dedicated farm and ranch division too. The Earhart Group for all your Oklahoma real estate needs, and proud to be a sponsor of the Simtrax Racing broadcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Choose Cone Rule has taken over, and appreciate you hanging out for a chat from our sponsors out there. Of course, the Chapman Environmental Services, Ultimate Siding and Gutters, Butt Kicker, and I always love seeing the Earhart Group out there. Go ahead and give them a little bit of love too. But here at the slurpsodas.com 200, we are about to get back under green. James Loveland and Matthew Robinson on that Choose Cone Rule have taken an opportunity here in the front, and they're going to take off here for hopefully the last restart of the race. Fuel mileage will come into play big time here as the playing field has been leveled. Right now, Loveland, Kevin Orlando sitting 1 and 2, and right now Matthew Robinson trying to make a little bit of battle more for here for that second place. Robert Rader's going to help him out there, sitting in that fourth, looking to make third. And right now, Kevin Orlando is praying for some help, and I think Trevor Earhart is going to be the one to do it.
Very good possibility right there. We talked about Trevor Earhart a while ago, especially being that first stage winner, or well, excuse me, the only stage winner. I guess so many leagues that I announced for, but anyway, Earhart looks like he's going to be able to try to keep it going up top. And we talked about that outside lane, trying to make the momentum up there. Only 4 cars up top. All the help's down on the bottom. Right now, like you talked about it, Patrick, all these tires are very, very fresh. These guys right here, they're pushing. But like you said, watch out for that fuel mileage. It will come into play.
Stella with 4 tires and the rubber buildup we have on the outsides of these turns. Drivers are enjoying it. Some are hating it. Right now, the inside line still seems to be the strongest area. Kevin Orlando not willing to give it up. As I say that, he gives it up down to the bottom, sitting third, which is now going to leave Trevor Earhart with a full blast of wind to the nose of his Chevrolet out there. And he's got a lot of, really, he's got to figure out either he's got to work in or he's got to get a big load of help here from Devin Hudgens. Hudgens has been a little gun-shy here at the Super Speedway. I know he's new to the league, but not as new. That green has worn off. It's time to start putting the pressure on. So during the straightaways, he's got to make a push. And right now, he's got a couple of guys I just don't think are as confident pushing that 21 to the front, that being Devin Hudgens and John Fike there on the outside. As Trevor Earhart, as you can see, he tries to bump close to Nick Alves, maybe give him a blink again. That way he goes out, but he is not blinking here as he's holding side by side with him. Nick Alves trying to keep it close here, and we'll see how well this battle for 8th place continues on into turn number 1.
Yeah, I'm loving to see him back up in the top 10. We have our usual suspects. Forget has made a nice recovery also, back up to 6th.
Alex Forget, you know, we talked about him over the previous races. You know, granted, he is good on those 1.5 miles. Well, granted, this is a 1.5 miles, but this is Super Speedway. This is completely different from any other 1.5 miles that we run at here with the Racing Revolution. So he's showing that he's basically a jack of all trades right here. He can run the 1.5 miles when it's not a Super Speedway, and apparently he can run the 1.5 miles when it is a Super Speedway.
Looking pretty good here for Performance Motorsports. Sitting 2nd, 5th, 8th, and still tumbling around out there in the 7th position for Alex Forget. It looked like he was getting ready to get in a good load of trouble there, sitting in the 7th position with the only Toyota out there in the top 10. So right now, Alex Forget in good company with Nick Alves behind him, but can they get a couple of these other drivers to move? As the Performance Motorsports team has taken the inside line here, really in tow to Robert Rader. And Rader backing up these turns a little bit, looking for the number 6. Right now, Jeffrey Israel is down in that 12th position, and it looks like another slow pit stop for him, unfortunately. 45 seconds down pit lane and 15:07 in the box. So right now, he's got the Denny Hamlin fever out there, where he can race and race and race, and his pit crew just kills him every single time. So he's got to have to go back out there and try to kill the guys out there on the track to fight his way back to the front, as we were hoping that Jeffrey Israel might be able to get a win here. But it looks like Kevin Orlando may have a better luck here sitting in that third position with about 26 laps left to go.
You see Orlando right here running in that third spot with Trevor Earhart actually getting this run up top. Orlando might actually think about trying to jump up in this top lane and be able to get something going. No, wow, Earhart actually jumped straight down on the bottom lane and almost gets hooked right there. That's going to open the door up top. John Fike going to be looking really, really good right here with Devin Hudgens. This top lane, I'm telling you, these guys right here, this top lane, I'm telling you, if the front guy can keep it straight, the guy behind him can get up to his back bumper, and that third car, that is the most important car out of all of them, and that is Brandon Dunford. If he can get up there and get a hold of Hudgens' back bumper, he ain't got to bump him. Just stay tucked right up on him. Just keep the momentum going on that top lane. You see it working. Here comes John Fike. Looks like he may try to take the lead here at Atlanta.
Yeah, John Fike gets the lead. Devin Hudgens now sitting second, waiting to see if Brandon Dunford's Toyota is going to push up to the front as well. Daniel Holloway from the Grayson Shootout Series sitting in right now. It looks like 6th position, now 5th, but the outside line will continue to be strong. We are almost 3 wide here, as it looks like a little tumble up here from Matthew Robinson. Goes 3 wide, and I believe that is with Kevin Orlando and the 23 of Christopher Schaefer.
Yes.
Now, Schaefer is down a couple of laps here, so lap traffic has now gotten caught up into the front pack. Where are these guys going to shuffle back all together? Daniel Holloway now up to second. His first race here with the Racing Revolution League, taking that Hershey Kiss number 25 forward up into second. So a podium position he's lined up for, but 24 laps is a long way here at Atlanta. Oh,
no, he's going to hook John Fike. Oh, my goodness. Both of them was going for the same spot right there. Holloway tried to go down low. I believe that was Holloway that was in that. He tried to go low, and Fike had the same idea. It's just so close. I mean, it was just like a split-second deal right there. I mean, Fike wanted to go down, Holloway wanted to go down, and then bam, there it was.
I would probably say when Holloway got to the left of him, the brakes got held up. He lost downforce on Fike, so Fike slowed up. Holloway was shooting the inside. Fike looked like he was trying to block, man. The two of them just made connection. Holy cow. That was a huge mess up here, and hopefully we'll be able to take another peek at the shot here. Look at the inside, and then Fike comes across his nose here. Wow. So Holloway involved in at least 2 incidents here tonight. Unfortunately, that is going to drop him from the lead down to 7th. Wow. All right, let's take a look back as drivers are coming down pit again. Gutsy move here for some of these other guys. I would probably admit, if you're Daniel Holloway, it might be time to take a little second here. Maybe throw on the last set of tires, hammer out a couple of these dents and get back out there, or fuel and go. Remember, we did pit back on about that lap 93 area, 93, 94, so drivers were not going to be able to make it if that fuel window was only about 30 laps. That was going to be so close. So now they'll be able to do it. We should be back under green with 20 laps left to go. Stella, what's your take on this one as guys are coming down pit road? Ones who are and aren't are Raider, Israel, Murphy, and Grant Thorpe are the guys who stayed out.
Well, that's what I was just about to call, was those 4 now, and I mean one of those being the fuel calculator in 4th, have decided to stay out. That is a huge jump for Justice Murphy into 3rd. Raider now has his clean air that he loves up there in 1st, and I don't know if he's going to want to give that up.
All right, well, and a little bit of the tire strategy. Most guys took fuel. Tyler Harrison looks like a 12-second stop, so maybe a couple either hammering some dents out or he took 2 tires, but ones I can guarantee you took tires. And it looks like, I believe that Tay McDonald, Nick Shell, and Blake Cook. 73, the 58, and the number 4. Here in the back of the pack took 4 tires. Could this play as a huge role here seeing with 93 to go on a fresh set of tires, these guys are about, what do we got, about 115 laps, fresher tires. So, I mean, that could trip it up here a little bit from 93 to that 108 mark. I'm wondering if that's going to be the game changer of the race, is these guys will have that fresher tires sitting in the back, but they've got the entire field to floss through. So, man, that's the trade-off, maybe, but man, I don't know. I just don't know how much more coming to an end of a super speedway race, if that's something I would want to risk.
Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, Justice Murphy, with that last caution that happened when Fike actually got spun, he came back up the track and took out some actual guys. I mean, some of these guys that got took out was Tate McDonald. He actually got involved in it. And I believe Robert Rader was actually one of those guys that got caught up in it as well. But if you see where Justice Murphy was at when all of that happened, he barely missed this wreck. You're going to see it right here. Fike shoots back up the track.
Oh,
wow. I mean, that's how close it was right there. So Justice Murphy needed that right there to happen. Well, obviously he needed that to happen because he was able to miss it. But he's going to get that track position and be up front and not be back there where all the chaos is going to be happening.
Wow. Excellent look there, my man. I definitely like seeing an extra set of eyes out there. What the heck happened? Let's take another look at that from John Fikes here. How did he come back up the track? Right? Oh, he's trying.
Oh, shame.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was trying. You can see with the tires locked up, he tried to stop, and you get them rolling when you're facing the right way, so it'll allow you to turn again. So he was trying.
Catch.
Yeah, you saw it, the tires loosen up and him try to turn, but that thing, just the momentum. And you were talking about how many feet did we lose on the turns there, Stella?
Oh, yeah. It went from 55 to 40.
There you go. So that 15 feet is what he needed to get hooked there, and they're just
Ouch.
he had nothing left. Oh my gosh. But boy, yeah, a bunch of drivers got taken out on that one. So I would assume here, Jacob, those fast repairs have been all burned up by those guys who ended up in some contact there, and they're going to be trying to battle back toward the front with Robert Rader and Grant Thorpe starting in the front row here. Interesting to see the fuel calculator. He knows something's up here. 23 positions gained by the 77 Chevrolet here in the front, and I think that would be a huge upset. And talk to me about the final four here for the Dash for Cash. Any of these guys here have a chance to win another $50 here?
Yeah, they sure do, and that would be Robert Rader.
Oh, man.
Of our four, Robert Rader, Trevor Earhart, Caleb Gilbert, Jacob Surkovich, he is the one that's in contention.
Oh man, he can't go for a sweep. That'll be 2 for 2. All right.
Well, yeah, he could.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and give this one another go here. Looks like Robert Rader getting lined up for the green flag. Barney's got the green flag in his hand. They're waiting for everybody to slow up here, and away we go. Back under green with 19 laps left to go. Rader and Jeffrey Israel 1 and 2. I can guarantee you that 53 is going to move to the outside, and then we're going to allow him to move.
Earhart just took it 3 wide in the back.
Yeah, Earhart looked like he may have had a tire slip here, and he sidestepped it there, ended up sliding to the back, unfortunately. Yeah, I did see that 3 wide. No one was dying there, and then the turn 1 and 2. But I'm waiting to see if Rader switches it up here, allows Israel to get out front and starts blocking the field. But somebody who does not take blocking lightly is the judge. Justice Murphy sitting third right now. That is looking pretty good. Loveland's led a good bit of this race, sitting fourth, and with so few laps to go here, I think this is going to really chalk up to be a great one here at the end.
Well, not only that, I mean, you got a bunch of these guys up here that know that if they haven't had any damage and they haven't unchecked that fast repair, a lot of these guys still have that fast repair that they can use. So, I mean, that right there will actually make it even more interesting than what it already is, because, obviously they'll be able to have that wreck, be able to go in and get their stuff fixed and have something at the end. So you might see some very, very crazy moves, some moves that you probably normally wouldn't see these guys make right here in the closing laps of this race.
Taking a little ride along here with Kevin Orlando. Unfortunately, has fallen down to that 10th position. Taking a look back. I think I see the Candyman hanging out there as he sticks his nose right below on turn 3 and 4, trying to fight his way back to the front after the hook there with John Fife. Now, right now, that outside lane is starting to get some speed here. Of course, it's being led by James Loveland on the outside, as I'm sure Grant Thorpe is willing to help push his buddy here to the front. Robert Rader and Jeffrey Israel here from LMX Racing here in the front. We're about to find out if the Mountain Man is going to call this one. If the number 6 can get out front and lead here in the later stages of this race, this could be exactly what we're looking for. But as we've got cars stacking up here, notice this, Stella. Look how close these cars are getting. And these guys are now, you notice they're not as close to the wall. They're nudging closer and closer together, which means the door draft here, Jacob. How gutsy is it here at Atlanta, especially the Super Speedway track?
Well, you got to trust the guys on the bottom, especially when you're going to be side drafting them as hard as they are. You seen Loveland just come straight down, trying to pull this inside lane back. They're trying to get every little bit that they can, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get this bottom lane disorganized while they try to keep that top lane organized as well as they possibly can. But like I said, you got to trust the guy on the bottom that you're side drafting, because we talked about this as well. That bottom lane, you're going to start getting tight and you're going to start pushing up the racetrack. So you got to have enough of trust in the guy that you're side drafting that he's not going to push straight up into you, because if he does, big one happens.
Yeah, still a possibility here. A couple of guys trying to slice on through here. Right now, Rader, Israel, Murphy, 1, 2, and 3 out for Jet and James Loveland battling for that 4th position. And Grant Thorpe sitting 6th. Michael Bennett is 7th. Hudgens is 8th. Kevin Orlando still trying to work his way up, sitting 9th. And Brandon Dunford rounding out our top 10. Now, Tay McDonald trying to see if he can find his way in through there as well. I know Nick Alves is doing a whole lot of bobbing and weaving back here. And I got to admit, the way I've seen Trevor Earhart push, Nick Alves is doing everything to keep his car straight. Because when the 21 wants to go, he's going to go. And we've seen it before. Rader's done the exact same thing. I believe we were watching Ted Reckich out here. And Robert Rader and Kevin Orlando at this track once before. And that ended up in a big, big pileup. But notice how the outside lane here, Rader's going to see if he can hold up this outside, or the inside lane here, and I think Jeffrey Israel is going to get the lead here, coming through 1 and 2, allowing the 6 to push out front. Now, what happens here? Does the 6 rotate back down and get in front of Robert, and then they're going to push him to the lead, or is he going to hold up there and keep James Loveland boxed in and see if he can run it? Oh, Jeffrey Israel drops to the bottom, and I think the outside lane being as fast as it is here tonight, right now, I don't know if that's the right call here, Jacob. We got 10 to go. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, we already seen a bunch of times this outside lane just go straight around the guys on the bottom. And then the leader, for some reason, every single time wants to jump down into that bottom lane. And then all of a sudden, we got another wreck.
Travis Gilbert is upside down.
Oh. Fike is into it.
No, that's not Travis Gilbert. Who is that? Is that Trevor? Trevor Earhart is upside down.
He is.
And Patrick, I was just about to say that this intensity was fixing to pick up big time, because everybody going around on that top lane was going to get it going. Oh man, I'm telling you right there.
There's we haven't seen him on camera tonight, but now might not be the time.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let's take another look, because it looked like the 14 shot up the track for some reason here. Oh.
No, it's a checkup from 19.
Yeah, a checkup from 19 here. You see Kevin Orlando trying to kind of offset it here. The 14's pushing the 27. Nick Alves gets into the 14, and here we go. Look at Trevor Earhart. Boom. Oh, Blake Cook with the final shot.
Man.
Dude.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick, we knew it was coming. We just didn't know when, but wow.
Yeah, we got to find
Yeah.
I got to find Trevor Earhart here on this yellow flag. Let's see if I can if we can take a ride along.
With him? Oh my. This will be fun.
You kind of see how fast it unfolds here. I mean, just everything's good.
Yep.
It's good, and
Icy sparks.
yeah, that's all we got.
Aww. Oh,
I'll see if we find something here. Wow. Pit stop for a couple of drivers while we're taking a look at this here. As this kind of flies on through. Right now, Tay McDonald on his way down, John Fike and Grant Turner are on their way down pit. I believe Trevor Earhart has taken it to the garage.
yeah. I mean, are either one of those two guys even trying to stop? I mean, Fike's wheels are still rolling, and I can't tell. There's too much paint traded. Who that? 22?
Yeah, 22 should be Travis Gilbert.
Yeah, they were just pile driving.
Well, if you were looking for a shootout, we'll have one now. A couple of
Yes.
drivers have got to be considering, what do we do here? I've got to say, Michael Bennett couldn't wait for a better time to use that fast repair.
Oh, he had one left. Fantastic.
Yeah, he had no fenders, no bumper, no hood, no. Nothing. Back in and snap your fingers. We were back all in one piece. But this front row here is going to be pretty dicey. Loveland and Jeffrey Israel sitting 1 and 2. Grant Thorpe and Robert Rader sitting 3 and 4. I don't know how this is gonna turn out here. Hopefully, we'll see something.
Well, honestly, my take on it would be a minute ago, Grant was behind Loveland, and he was in a lead follower, get out of the way, buddy, because Grant couldn't get Loveland to go any faster. And Rader right now is right where he wants to be behind Israel if his purpose is to push him along. So I think this is a very nice matchup.
Oh, yeah. All right, couple of drivers getting ready to get this one going. We are in the middle of our driver mashup here. Some of these guys have got to be petrified, and really, I give it to Trevor here. He's not. I'm amazed that mouse isn't through the monitor here. But we're going to be back under green here in just a moment. I'm just trying to see how many of these guys figure out what they're going to do and get going on the stack up. Spinning of the tires of Jeffrey Israel on the start. He is now fallen way off. He goes from the front row to 6th before he makes it to turn number 1. Look out with some of these drivers. They're going, oh my gosh, what just happened on that inside line? So they are not happy. They've got to fight their way back to the front. But could this work to actually his advantages? He's got Robert Rader behind him and Justice Murphy. These guys could take all 3 of these cars and fight their way to the front, and that's exactly what you're seeing now. Jeffrey Israel, huge burst of speed. Now the 53 rear ends him. Where's Justice Murphy go on the inside? I bet you he's hoping Wayne Lowe's nowhere around. It's Justice Murphy flies up to that 6th position, following behind Kevin Orlando, who might have another chance here. 5 laps to go. 4.5 so far, and this is looking pretty close here as Brandon Dunford, our new leader, sitting in that 56 Toyota, has pushed James Loveland to the outside, but he's not going to lead this lap as Grant Thorpe backs off a good little bit in that number 77 as he's going to catch back up for turn number 1. Stella, this is getting pretty close as these guys are getting ramped up here for the final run.
Oh yeah, we've got new people out front, and we've got pushing, we've got shuffling, digging it. It's like we're in Vegas.
James Loveland looking to see if he can come away with another win here in this season. And Matthew Robinson taking a peek around as well. Super Speedways is his forte, and he's on the outside of this one, sitting 3rd now. But the fuel calculator knows better. He's going to see if he can floss on around him. But remember, Grant Thorpe and Jeffrey Israel have yet to pit since 94 and lap 93, and that may be the cause of their launch problem there at the beginning. Old, worn-out tires. So now James Loveland, Matthew Robinson here on the inside. And look who is slicing up the middle.
Israel just popped out of there like a watermelon seed through your front 2 teeth.
And Robert Rader is turning in the meat of the sandwich here. He's getting bashed around, pinballed between Grant Thorpe and Matthew Robinson. Good communication, not get him spun. In the lead now is Jeffrey Israel, but he's been hung out to dry. Grant Thorpe working his way here on the outside as we see James Loveland holding it close. But as we see, Kevin Orlando drops down to the bottom. That allows Justice Murphy 3 wide heading into turn 3, and this is looking pretty great as Jeffrey Israel is now mirror driving. Justice Murphy bumping around. Justice Murphy. No, as we are still under. White flag is out. We are going to continue this one. Jeffrey Israel has 1 lap to get his win, and all drivers from Element X Racing have got to make the win here. So far, James Loveland taking a peek here on the inside. He's going to lose the shot. Where does Matthew Robinson come in here? Is the draft going to be held by Matthew Robinson to push Jeffrey Israel? He's going to do it. Jeffrey Israel onto the bottom as Matthew Robinson's pushing him to the front. We're running to the line. This looks like the run from last time, and it looks like James Loveland's going to get him at the line.
Wow.
By 20 thousandths of a second.
Wow.
God, man. Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly how you wanted the race to end here with the SlurpSodas.com 200. Jeffrey Israel so close to getting it here, and James Loveland taking absolutely no prisoners. He was going to come away with that win. That was extremely close right there at the line. What an impressive race by these two guys. Right, I mean, just right at the end there. And Stella and Jacob, man, guys, take it away. That was a wild one here at the end.
Is it only me that wants to see a replay?
I want to see one. I mean, there was so much going on right there in the whole last lap.
Oh, my.
You see Loveland right here doing all he can to get the side draft done for just completely. I mean, everybody literally almost 4 wide going across the stripe right there. I mean, that is beautiful to see.
That's a thumbnail if I ever saw it.
Wow.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
Whew. Israel was close. The Dunford didn't get him though. That was close as well. I mean, these 3. I mean, these 4 is not counting out Matthew Robinson here, but Jeffrey Israel, so close. Holy cow. Holy cow. I've got to go back though. I need to figure out what happened to Justice Murphy here as he was getting hammered around here.
That's actually the one I was looking for, was the wreck. I'm sorry, guys. Boink.
Yeah, trying to see as to why or how this continued from here.
Oh.
Let's try to see if we can find more. Ooh, wow, that is way high. Let's get a little closer here.
Yeah, I like that better. Oh, what's Orlando doing?
Look at how many drivers are all in this one spot.
Yes.
Holloway even gave Caleb Gilbert a nudge here.
Across.
Forget.
He gets the back end of Orlando. Hudgens gets nailed.
Grant.
Oh,
no. Justice Murphy with an excellent late time dodge there from Grant. Dude.
Oot.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Which one did you see?
I was seeing Justice Murphy. I mean, he made it all the way through that, and then he got ready to go into turn 1, and there was another one that was spun and almost came straight down on top of him. So not only did he dodge everybody else, he dodged the last bullet going into turn number 1. Wow. I mean, and he's going to come home 10th out of all that.
Okay.
Bennett.
I know. Boom. Oh.
Well, look at Holloway get rear-ended there. I think that's Grant. Grant Turner getting him. Wow. Man, that was an excellent run here, even right at the end.
Yeah. A little bit of pushing, a little bit of blocking, and then like sprinters running in the Olympics, all of a sudden they just kind of spread out and dive for the finish line.
Holy cow. Between the 3 of these guys, I'm showing 50 thousandths of a second is what's separated all 4 of them.
Oh, my.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that was an excellent run.
Yes.
What an excellent run. So we're going to grab a couple of our guys here and try to reel them down because this finish was top notch. And I was hoping that's exactly what we were going to see, especially when we saw how the stage went up. So everybody hold on just a moment and let's try to get these drivers wrangled in. All right, everybody, we have caught up with our third place finisher here right now, taking a look at Brandon Dunford in the number 56 Toyota. And great job here, man. Toward the end of this race, 10 positions you gained. Talk me really through the first half of your race.
Well, the first half was definitely a little bit rough for myself. The way the race has just run green here, and there was a couple, close wrecks that didn't quite bring out caution, so it definitely spread the field out. At that point, it's just kind of recover on pit the best you can, and then just stay with it. Try to get into, a good group that you can draft with, and try to make a good push to the front. So, I'd say my first half was a little rough, but just stayed with it and continue to try to make that push to the front.
All righty. Well, now we get past the first half, and let's get to kind of the final caution. You guys getting ready to restart and fire to the end here. How you were able to avoid the wrecks that were happening behind you and still able to survive here toward the end. I mean, where did you find the right place to be out there?
Lane choice comes down to a big key factor on that. Who you can run good with, who is going to stay committed and push, because obviously everybody's going to be jockeying for those positions. The second half, went as expected. We're going for the win. Everybody's trying to get into that position to get to that spot where they know that they can have a chance at it. So it just comes down to, man, the choose and who you're going to work with. And I knew that I was around some good guys that I've raced around quite a bit. So I figured some of them would stay committed to me, not so much as others. And then, stay out of the mayhem. Just try to find the best line. I know that they were trying to make it 3 wide, and I kind of got pushed down below the line, but just stayed with it. And it kind of worked in my benefit since the wreck started to happen right there to my right side as we were, coming back through the tri-oval there. So it just comes, like I said, the main thing is, choosing to who your dancing partner is going to be.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was definitely a shootout here toward the end, man. And what a fantastic job. I don't think I get to talk to you very often, but the 56 Toyota prevails here for a third-place finish at Atlanta. We head to New Hampshire. Give me your confidence level real quick, and then followed by shout-outs.
Man, New Hampshire's going to be rough. It's a big Martinsville, flat track, so it's going to be one of those tracks that it's just going to have a good setup, and my chances of it probably slim, but we'll give her our best shot. Shout outs, of course, I got to thank Mayhem Motorsports for bringing us some fast cars down here to Atlanta. We're missing a teammate, but that's all right. We still made it work. Got to give Devin a shout out, and then all the competitors. They did great this race, and then of course the broadcast. Y'all do a fantastic job on these. I love going back and watching these, especially when you have runs like this. So just kudos to y'all as well.
Thanks, buddy. We try to get pretty ramped up here in the booth. I know I kind of take over from time to time getting rolling there, but when you guys are racing within, so close there at the line, I'm on the edge of my seat and almost chewing on the edge of this mic here, but congratulations, man. And we'll hopefully we see you again here in the near future, my man. Great job tonight, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
Yep.
Patrick, you might not talk to him all the time, but he is sitting 8th in the point standings. So he has been he's been plugging along out there. I mean, 8th, 16 is the cutoff. He is in great shape points wise.
Alrighty, yep, you are right. So let's go ahead and see if Jacob is caught up with Jeffrey Israel here, which I know that Kristen out there was kind of rooting on to see if he could come away with a win here tonight. Jacob, take it away.
Well, Jeffrey Israel, buddy, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Oh, bud, I can already tell by the sound of how he's talking right there. You're not too happy. I mean, bud, you put up honestly one hell of a fight tonight, trying to be able to try to put yourself in position. I mean, we saw, with Robert Rader trying to be able to give you all them shoves. I mean, did you, with all the wrecking going on, did you think you was going to be in good shape, or did you just see it in your mirror and just try to make the best block? I mean, which one was it?
To be honest, I wasn't even looking in the mirror. I was just trying to protect the bottom and hoping that somebody was there to give me a push.
Well, here's another question. Me and Patrick, we talked about this, and, I like, this kind of racing, but I also do like the old Atlanta. Patrick, he prefers, I guess, the old school Atlanta, if you will, before it got repaved. Which one would you prefer better? This new version of Atlanta, or would you like, or excuse me, do you like the older version better than this?
If I could have the older version with 900 horsepower again, that would be the way to do it. But
Now, we're
since
not
we can't,
talking ancient, just old.
since we can't have that, this one's pretty good. I like this.
Well, going into New Hampshire next week, I mean, what's your confidence level going in there, coming out of this right here with a second place finish, knowing that you got the power behind you in that number 6 car? What's your confidence level going into New Hampshire next week?
Well, I got to buy it first. I don't think I have that one. I've never done that one before, but I'm gonna lean on Caleb a lot. He seems to do a lot of practicing, so I'm gonna lean on him and Rob and Jeremy. Hopefully, get some pointers, and we're gonna try for it. It was nice to just be able to finish a race this week. It's been a rough, I don't know, 5 months, I'd say.
That was.
Well, Bud, give me your shout outs.
I'd like to thank, Rob and Caleb and Jeremy for all the help and letting me be a part of what they got going on. Chapman ES for sure, Ultimate Siding and Gutters, and Butt Kicker. And I'll shout out my wife. She's sitting right here next to me.
Always got to give a shout out to the wives. I'm all for that myself. But
only the smart men do that.
I do it all the time. And Jeffrey
There
is
you
coming home in the second spot, but we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys. Good job.
All right, I would love to know what made Jeffrey Israel say, you know what, I'm going 3 wide, and I'm going to do it right up the middle. I mean,
it was beautiful.
Wow, gutsy, though. I mean, just a gutsy move. I guess when you got nothing to lose, you got to full send it. So let's find somebody who was able to do it. James Loveland, you had a fantastic race tonight, and you are now the winner here of the slurpsodas.com 200. Talk to me about this race, man. Did you think this was possible?
I honestly don't even know what to talk about because I just came into this race trying to finish, and this is my second ever start on the Super Speedway configuration, so I don't even know what to say. I mean, the car was wicked fast, and I was just figuring out everything during the race, and every move I was making was working, so I don't even know what to say. It was just a wild finish, and I had a blast. That was fun.
All right. Doesn't seem you got in any trouble tonight. The only trouble you did have, and I want to talk to you a little bit about it, your qualifying position. You started 18th. I mean, out of 27 drivers and win the race here. Is it the Chevy power? Is it luck? Is it good placement? Is it good pit strategy? Talk to me here.
Probably more inexperience with qualifying around here. I mean, like I said, this is the second time I've ever been on this configuration, so I don't know if people were running the apron more than I was or what, but I don't know. I just guess I just missed a little bit, but races like these, it's not really a big deal to me. So I just focus on the race and leave that behind.
All right. Well, Tire Slayer Racing didn't have a great turnout here tonight. Unfortunately, Trevor Earhart ended up on his lid tonight, and I think Chris Schaefer ended up a few laps down there in lap 20 in 25th, man. But you kind of flip-flop that all and bring it to the front. Would it have helped you tonight, being able to hold off Jeffrey Israel a little easier if Trevor Earhart would have been able to go up there and kind of rub elbows with you?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, to me, like the last lap's kind of a free-for-all, but I feel like he would have pushed me until he got an opening and then took his shot to win. But yeah, I mean, they're great teammates and all, and but yeah, it just, to me, the last lap's a free-for-all. Anybody can go for the win. I mean, those 4 guys at the end of the race, I mean, shout out to them. That was some fun last lap race in there. That's probably the most fun I had, and they're all clean and just going for the win.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, you still, unfortunately, are still below cutoff, sitting right now 21st in points. You are the one who actually gave up a position last season to allow somebody else to get in. You have not been here long enough, and we're going to have to fight in on points. A win tonight is going to be huge here for you. This should slide you up about that 18th position, just outside with still plenty of season left to go. What's the outlook for James Loveland getting into the playoffs here?
Points, and points.
Boy.
Show up,
Yeah.
and show out.
Yeah, that's gonna be another challenge. A lot of craziness. Like I had to miss last week because I had something going on, but yeah, just show up and try to get as much points as I can. I mean, when I came back, I was struggling with stage points. I'd be up there and then I finished 13th or 12th and then
Yep.
get nothing. So my goal is just to get as much points as I can. I mean, I love to win the race, but I got to be smart too. So we'll see what happens.
All righty, can keep the consistency up, Mr. Loveland. Give me your shout outs here, man. Let's go celebrate with all your teammates.
Yeah, shout out to you guys at the broadcast. Man, gotta watch that replay again. That was wild.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to the league as always, man. These guys this is probably one of the best leagues I've ever been in on here. And I've only been on the server for like 3 years, and man, it was a blast tonight. Really fun. Shout out to the race sponsor, Slurp, and shout out to my teammates. Unfortunately, they didn't have a good run, and Parker wasn't here, but you know what? We still came out with the win somehow, so I'll take it.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yep. James Loveland, congratulations on your win, man. We'll catch up with you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, everybody, that's James Loveland. This race being finished by a Chevrolet, a Ford, and a Toyota for 1, 2, and 3. What an excellent race this actually turned out to be. I am really excited to see how that went. It just so many opportunities for a lot of drivers out there. Rounding out our top 10, James Loveland, Jeffrey Israel, and Brandon Dunford were 1, 2, and 3. Matthew Robinson ended up in that 4th position. We saw how close he got. Robert Rader finished with a top 5. Up 20 positions was Blake Cook sitting for 6th. Devin Hudgens was up 9 positions for 7th. And the last few Chevrolets were Nick Schell in the 58 Chevrolet. He made it up in front of the other Nick, Alves, sitting in 9th. And Justice Murphy, after turning into a pinball, ended up getting a top 10. So not too shabby there by our drivers out there. Kevin Orlando, our favorite to win, ended up 15th behind Daniel Holloway. Boy, a lot of mix-up there. Alex Forget, you saw he got hammered in the wall. 18th for him. Travis Gilbert, he got smoked out with the 21st. And you saw Grant Thorpe in the $77 General, down to 20th. So these guys are going to have to battle it back next week, where we are at, of course, New Hampshire. My record there has been 32 cautions under 127 laps of caution laps. I don't know if you guys remember that. I was not with this league, but I was with a different broadcast company, and I assure you this league will not let anything like that happen. But from all of us here at Simtrax Broadcasting, appreciate you guys joining us. We will see you guys actually tomorrow for the Doghouse Racing League, and we'll see how well they can do over there, as Jonathan Jennings has been on a tear. It doesn't matter what league he's in or what car he's in. He seems to be very, very fast, and we'll see how if any of those other drivers can run him down. But we'll catch with you tomorrow night. Be well, be safe, be kind, and I'll see all you guys next time.
Thank you.